Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Good evening. Welcome to Moms for Justice. How are you guys doing? It's been quite an emotional evening. Donna Adelson has been found guilty of first-degree murder, solicitation, and conspiracy. Not in that order. Pretty shocking for some people, but I think for the majority of people, they all saw this coming. Right? Everybody saw this coming. There are some people that were feeling a little sorry for her, I think, but at the end of the day, the evidence is overwhelming. It is catastrophic for her, but well-deserved, as we had just heard in impact statements from Ruth and Phil Markel, which were pretty compelling. I made a lot of notes, but I also could play it. But before I do that, let's quickly just play a little bit of him announcing it one more time. Let's take a listen.
We, the jury, find as follows as to count one of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself. Count two. We, the jury, find as follows as to count two of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count three. We, the jury, find as follows as to count three of the indictment, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And it is signed and dated by the foreperson.
Okay, so just a little bit over 3 hours. My original prediction was like 45 minutes to 3 hours. That's what I had said. And I know Charlie's was about 3 hours as well. So not surprised there. Jocelyn is not with us tonight. She is off. She's busy. She's doing something. So I'm here covering for both of us. I hope you guys don't mind me. Hair is a little ratty today, but who cares? I just, threw it half back, put on a white t-shirt so I'd look a little crisp for y'all. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? Let's see what we got here. Who's on here? Oh boy. I'm going to go through some things. I have a show planned for you tonight, regardless if this had come in. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. It's going to be mostly about Wendi. So we're going to talk a little bit about her. And we're going to talk a little bit about Georgia Kappelman, who is incredible. So let's see what you guys have to say. Yeah. Wow. Super fast. Leaves no doubt. Guys, I really believe when they went back there, just based on how quick it was, and I think the same thing for Charlie, is they probably went around the table and they did a vote and they all raised their hand for guilty. And the rest of this 3 hours was really, paperwork and charges, I think they knew right away. I think they knew before they walked in there. Yeah. Wonder what she's thinking right now. I'm sure she was watching it. Justice. I mean, she's the kingpin of this whole thing. Wendi we believe, has a huge role in this, but we had to get Donna. For them to have justice for Dan Markel, they had to get Donna. Big, Huge. Yeah, see, I'm not surprised at that. When they said that they were going to keep going and have dinner, I had a feeling it was coming in because they would have just gone home. It's been a long day. Those closing arguments can be very draining. So the fact that they stayed and ate. Hey, I heard Mentor Lawyer bought everybody pizza. Mentor Lawyer, great channel. Deep dive true crime. Yeah. You know, every now and then I would feel a little sorry for her because she, because that was what we were all afraid of, right? That the jury was going to look at her as this sweet old lady. She is a grandma, but then you think about all the things she did and you're just like, guys, hatred for Dan for such a long time. And the Markels. There's documented emails and testimony of them ripping apart Ruth and Phil long before his murder. Okay? Relocation pressure. Repeatedly coaching Wendi despite everything. The $1 million financial offer. The TV repair. The alibi of the TV getting repaired. Money laundering. Literally laundering. Right? Washing money. Washing money. And then the money drop. Okay? The phone records put her there, dropping off that money. The wiretaps, revealing the control and manipulation and the cover-up. It's all there. If you have any doubts, go back and listen to it. Her attempt to flee Vietnam, okay? It's an escape plan. There wasn't a return flight plan because she wasn't gonna come back. She made a remark, you can bury me in the Lincoln's bar mitzvah dress that she was going to wear for the bar mitzvah. Okay, that's not somebody who's going to come back. The license plate number of Dan Markel, his make and model and everything, all written right there in her calendar. That really had to be a huge factor. But I don't even think these factors were discussed. I think they went around and they took a vote and they didn't even need to talk about it. Yeah, much respect. I'm going to go through her victim impact statement and it deserves to be played again. I'm going to play it again. Yeah, I'm a very empathetic person too. I am. And I always have a tendency to I'm wishy-washy sometimes because of that. Yeah. That's correct, because Lynn doesn't believe in circumstantial evidence as much. And I think that it's very, very powerful, especially when it's piled high, when there's just one thing after another of circumstantial evidence. Yeah, her reaction. Did you see her reaction there? It just, what she has put people through, it's just amazing. And in the victim impact statements, just how they explain that, it was just soul crushing to hear them. I don't know if Alan Jackson could have saved her either, to be honest with you. Dennis. Still feel sad for her. I could never serve on a jury, nor would I want to. Well, look, at the end of the day, it is the man upstairs that has to judge her, not us. Okay? We can feel sorry for her, but then anytime I start to feel sorry for her, I think about what happened to Dan Markel. And I think about one of the things that sticks out for me, guys, is the surveillance video that they've played. And you can see Dan Markel walking into the gym. And that kills me every time because I'm like, this guy just going about his everyday life, just dropped off his kids, had like time off because it was the summertime, right? He wasn't teaching, but he was like, having a nice summer, doing some work from home and going to the gym after dropping his kids off. And there he is walking in completely clueless that he's about to be wiped out. I don't agree that it was weak. It was some of the strongest evidence I've ever seen, and I've followed a lot of cases. I'm going through your comments here. Yeah, broke my heart too. Wendy next, and let's just pray to God that the justice system finally addresses our 34-time convicted felon of a president. Oh, we're not going to get political now. Not going to go political. But the first part, maybe Wendy might be next. Yeah, it's sad. She's a lost soul, Donna. She's a lost soul. She has obviously had very little empathy, and she only thought about herself. It was selfish what she did. That is not true. No, you're allowed to take that vote. Yep. Yes. Listen, I do welcome all opinions, though. I do want to hear from you if you think that she should have been, found not guilty. I just don't see how anybody could think that. Well, I'm always teaching Lynn about circumstantial evidence, but she's a tough nut to crack. Yes, planted the seed, as Lynn likes to say, the seed. It's called plausible deniability. And I'm going to do a whole video on Wendy because I'm starting to wrap up what I really think about this whole thing. But here's what I think. Plausible deniability is when you give me a second. I just want to get my words right. In her case, you complain, and you complain because you know what the people around you are going to do. Okay, based on history and based on the pattern in your family. So growing up, she always got what she wanted, right? She always got what she wanted. She knew how to ruffle their feathers. She knew what buttons to push. She pushed them, and then turns around and says, I don't know anything. That's plausible deniability. Yep, lots of hate. It's a victory today. I think this is a huge victory. I think that there is going to be a domino effect from this as well. I think we're going to see things happening right after this. It might even be this week, guys. We might hear something on Monday. We might get through the weekend and there's going to be big news on Monday. The question is, who's it going to be the news on? Is it going to be on Harvey or Wendy? Yes, like, woohoo! Break out the champagne. Hey, I know there's people that were like, they're from outside of the country watching this, and they've been up for 24 hours. I was talking to somebody earlier, and they were like, I need to go to bed. It's 8 o'clock in the morning for me. They were up all night long watching this. All right, let me scroll on down here. You guys are awesome. Thanks for the comments. If you have any questions, pop them on over. Yep, definitely. I'm going to do a whole video on my theory of this. Okay, so let me pop on over here. I think it deserves to be heard again. Man, did she, just the power in her words, okay? Power in her words are incredible. This woman waited 11 years. 11 years. And she has not spoken a lot. I know she gave a victim impact statement once in one of the earlier trials. I don't remember which one it was.
Right there in front of the lecture.
But she is, I just, so much respect for her.
If you please can identify yourself for the record.
Yes, my name is Ruth Markel. Sorry?
I'm worried you're going to trip. Just,
Okay.
Aw.
My name is Ruth Markel.
You may give your impact statement, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge Everett.
Turn it up.
To the Honorable Judge Everett, my name is Ruth Markel. I am the mother of the late Dan Markel. I stand before you today to express the profound sadness and grief that Dan's family and I have endured since his tragic murder. We have lost a treasure. My son Dan's life was cut tragically short at 41 years old. For 11 years, we have been forced to a life filled with unimaginable pain and heartbreak. Dan's father Phil and his sister Shelley share in this unending sorrow. Dan was a devoted father, brother, and son. Dan's life was marked by his devotion to family, education, and community. He was a loving, caring, and inspiring person. His academic journey included studying politics and philosophy at Harvard University, earning a master's degree later in political theory from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem and Emmanuel College in Cambridge, and later going back to Harvard to get a law degree. Dan was a prolific scholar and did start, co-founded the influential Prof's blog. His energy, drive, and sociability greatly enriched the FSU College of Law. Dan's life was filled with passion, music, dance, sports, travel, and people. But of all my son's accomplishments, however, I am most proud of the devoted father Danny was to his two sons, Benjamin and Lincoln. Dan was present, loving, and supportive, always putting his children's well-being first. He regularly attended the boys' daycares, reading with them. His office was filled with their drawings, and his home, his living room, filled with their toys. Dan was the boys' hero, and they have been forced to grow up without a father. Dan's murder has shattered our family and caused deep permanent pain. This was a particularly senseless crime, and the murder was particularly insensible. It was not revenge. Dan was a law-abiding and respectful citizen, an active father, and a living son. His life was devoted to teaching and helping others. The pain and suffering of Dan's murder goes well beyond other families too. That is why I wrote the book, The Unveiling, a mother's reflection on murder, grief, and trial life. In my unrelenting grief, I turned to advocacy, to feel purpose, and to help others with these tragic losses. I have found meaning and comfort to connect with others who want to serve justice. To all the community of journalists, TV programs, podcasters, Tallahassee communities, and the allies who have put their hearts in keeping Danny's story alive, we are full of thanks. To law enforcement and prosecutors, our gratitude is beyond for their dedicated, careful perseverance in seeking justice for Danny and our family. If Tallahassee is known for football, Tallahassee should be known for the prosecution and for law enforcement. They have done an outstanding job. These extraordinary efforts underscore the brutal truth of our family's story. Danny's murder was orchestrated by his former mother-in-law, Donna Adelson, and other co-conspirators, and is a crime of cruelty. It is a murder of grief, a murder of selfishly prioritizing one's own desires over what is just or right. And at its core, this was a murder of convenience. so that one grandmother could live closer to her grandchildren, she killed their father and ripped the children from the other grandparents' lives.
You go, girl.
Donna Adelson's crimes against Dan began long before his murder. She belittled Dan in front of his children. She spread lies about him and contributed to a brutal separation between Dan and Wendy. She rented the house, and Dan came home, and he found that Wendy and the boys were gone with most of their belongings. He called this devastation Pearl Harbor. Donna's eagerness for Wendy to divorce Dan and to relocate to South Florida led her to increasingly devise desperate schemes. Despite these efforts, the court ruled that Wendy could not move the boys away from their loving father. Failing to achieve her goal through legal means, Donna finally resorted to orchestrating Dan's murder. She plotted, planned, and paid for his murder. Donna's crimes led to further devastation. Her middle son, Charlie, was convicted and sentenced to a life in prison for his role in facilitating Danny's murder for hire. Can you imagine a mother involving a son to complete a murder? Donna's eldest son, Rob, an honest and decent man, is estranged from the family, and her younger child, Wendy, has decided once again to relocate to another state.
Thank you so much, Elaine.
Co-conspirators have caused children to lose their parents. Catherine McBanowitz, Freda Garcia, and Charlie Adelson, also convicted, are all convicted for life and have lost access to their children. Prior to her arrest, Donna's recorded phone calls with Charlie reveal their lack of a moral compass or capacity for self-reflection. She blames external forces for her family's curse. They're outside of her, but she is the curse, and lashes out angrily at witnesses who took the brave step to testify. Her modus operandi has always been to run from Tallahassee and then to try to flee to Vietnam. For our family, there is no such prospect for escape. Danny's absence, and that leaves a hole at the center of our lives, no matter where we go. Yet Dan's murder was not enough for Donna. His death was not enough. Danny had to be fully erased from his beloved sons. The boy's last name was ever changed, an extraordinary decision to excise the Markel name from Phil's only grandsons who shared his last name. And after the first arrests were made, Donna didn't allow the Markel family to have access for over 6 years. It was only when there was a phenomenal Tallahassee advocacy group that passed the Markel Act. The passage of this bill was immediately followed by our first invitation to see the boys after the arrest. The door only cracked open. Despite these efforts, we remain excluded from the boys' lives. We were not at their bar mitzvahs or graduations. We have extremely highly choreographed visits and communications. We only wait for the day that Benjamin and Lincoln will visit their father and his grave in his father's history and his grave in Toronto. We want nothing more. The facts of Danny's murder, are difficult to swallow. The experiences Phil, Shelley, and I have been forced to suffer are profound as homicide survivors and victims of the criminal system. The lives of Danny's 2 sons, our grandchildren, were forever turned upside down by this crime. Benjamin and Lincoln were only preschoolers when their father was murdered, and now they are forced to confront and try to understand the unthinkable crimes of murder and the Adelsons' involvement.
Poor kids.
Our lives will never return to normal. For those who loved Danny and for those who Danny loved, there is no escape from the wicked effects of what Donna Adelson set in motion, carried out, and paid for, and for many years enjoyed the aftermath of. Donna Adelson has caused immense devastation and an untimely, undeserved murder through her actions. While no trial or verdict can ever heal the profound wounds caused by Dan's murder, justice must be served. I respectfully ask the court to impose the maximum sentence on Donna Adelson. Her lack of cooperation and remorse throughout the case demands justice, the justice that Dan's life and memory fully deserve. We are immensely grateful to the court for its careful and compassionate deliberation. Respectively, Ruth Markel.
Beautifully done.
Ms. Markel. Are there any other victim
Mike,
impact statements this
thank
evening?
goodness that you're not in that situation anymore. The Lord was with you. God bless. Thank you again, Elaine. You're so kind. Thank you so much.
If you please could tell us your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Phil Markel. I'm Danny's father.
This is
Judge
heart-wrenching.
Everett, I appreciate the opportunity to speak about the impact of Donna Adelson's actions on my families and the families of so many others. While this victim impact statement is addressed to you, Your Honor, it is also intended for the Adelson family, Harvey, Charlie, Wendy, and particularly Donna. I would like them to understand and reflect on the deep and irreparable damage they have caused. The pain that they have caused my family is obvious and permanent, but they have also caused lifelong harm to their own immediate family and so many other families and children around. Donna's selfishness, cruelty, and complete disrespect for human life, along with that of her co-conspirators, have left families forever broken. Louis Rivera, his children have no father.
This is powerful.
Catherine Magbanoa and Sigfredo Garcia, their children have no parents. Charlie Adelson, his son, Roman, has no father. Rob Adelson and his wife and their 2 children have lost their uncle and grandparents. Shelley and Ian, my daughter, their 3 children, my grandchildren, are left without an uncle and are separated from their cousins.
Hey, Claudia.
Of course, their heinous and callous actions have left me, Ruth, and Shelley without our Danny, and Ben and Lincoln without their father. For anyone to commit such a cold-blooded, unprovoked act of murder is horrific. For Donna, someone who claims to care so much about Ben and Lincoln, her sun shines. Her actions are beyond comprehension. She has harmed forever the people she claims to have loved. In the Jewish custom, we have an expression to always wish others to live to 120 years of age. For Donna, I wish her to live to 120, alone in her jail cell.
Not laughing at
I
him.
wish that every day of her remaining days, she thinks about the harm she has caused to so many, especially those 2 boys she claims to have loved so much. For these reasons, Your Honor, I ask the court sentence Donna Adelson to the maximum possible sentence. And my only short question to Donna, was it worth it?
Was it worth it, Donna?
Respectfully, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Markel.
Wow, guys. You know, they are
Any other matter?
the sweetest looking people. Like, but not only that, they look like they have been put through the ringer. And I'm just so happy for them today. It is not even funny how happy I am for them. And I'm like, I didn't know them, right? And I'm exhausted because I've been following this and it's just really, it's weighed heavy on my heart, and I've really grown to really, it's personal. This case is, for me, is personal because I've just been so into it for so long that I'm just like, here's the day, it's finally here. But I mean, there's nothing that me, you, anybody could go through that could compare to what they're feeling right now. You know what I mean? It's just pretty crazy. So I wanted to point out a couple things that I thought were really riveting about these impact statements. Okay, so I'm going to start with Ruth. And hello, everybody who's just joining us. Jocelyn's not with me tonight. Thank you so much for being here with me. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share the channel. Okay, so, and keep your comments coming. Keep your comments coming. And Mike, yeah, anybody on here that's ever been in a situation like that, I've seen that, by the way. People have commented, oh, I've been, strung along, played the fool, the whole 9 yards, and got out of situations where it could have easily ended up like this. Well, I'm just so thankful that you are not in that situation anymore. You're worth more than that. And you deserve to be with somebody that truly loves you and is not going to treat you the way Wendy treated him. And if you are a mother-in-law and you're a monster-in-law, stop being a monster-in-law. Stop. Don't. Stop it. Get out of your kids' business. I know it's hard. I've got kids myself. They're just teenagers right now. And I'm a helicopter mom and I'm a meddler. But, I could see if somebody continues down that path, it gets obsessive and crazy. You end up having no life for yourself because all you're concerned with is them and then your grandchildren. It's like everything is like, micromanaging your kids. It can get obsessive, and then it just turns into something like this, and you just stop. Don't do it. Let your kids be let them, have their own life. Let them make their mistakes. Just wanted to point that out. Okay. So, it was powerful when she said, 41 years old, his life tragically cut short. Like I said, he had no idea what was coming for him that day. Had no idea. In all his hostile conversations with Wendy, never in a million years would you think that it would turn to murder. Never. I mean, it's just eerie to see the video of him walking into that gym. For me. I mean, everybody has their thing that really tugs at them, and that's it for me. Him just, I think he's like swinging his keys. He's just got the red t-shirt on. He's walking into the gym, and he's just another day at the gym, right? Meanwhile, there's two guys outside waiting for you to follow you home and shoot you in the head. Like, people have lost their minds. They've gone cray-cray. Okay? And Donna Adelson, don't forget when Rob testified that his mother was like gleefully boasting about the fact that they had planned when he left to go to NYU to do a speech or whatever it is he did over there, that they had planned this all out for them to announce his divorce. I mean, that was not the beginning or the end of this. That was just one of the things she did, right? Anyway, Harvard scholar, right? Highly educated. He co-founded the Profs blog. He was an accomplished human being on his way. He was a great father. He loved a lot of people. Yeah, I heard he's a pain. I heard that he could be a pain at a dinner with a bunch of attorneys and getting into debates. Well, he was a passionate person about what he believed in. Okay. I'm married to a passionate person. Okay. Who, maybe not so much now, but back in the day, he knew a lot. He's an analytical person. So when he would speak, if that person he's speaking to is not a confident person and doesn't know anything about what he's talking about, or they're less experienced than him, I take that as being arrogant. But he was just he's a person filled with a lot of passion. Okay. So I don't want to hear any more about how, he was a jerk. And half of the bad stuff we've ever heard about Dan Markel came from Wendy. So we can listen to Wendy? I don't think so. Anyway, so that was big when she pointed that out. She said for Donna, it was a murder of pure convenience. All because she wasn't getting her way. She wanted her grandkids to live down there. Who does that? Who does that? Somebody who's way off their rocker. Hold on, let me just check in with you guys. I feel like I'm ignoring you, and I'm not ignoring you guys. Trust me. Yeah. So many lives ruined. An entire family, extended family. It was so powerful when Phil Markel mentioned, this isn't just, them. They were actually being selfless. They were saying, what about Charlie's little boy? What about, he even mentioned the hitman. Louis Rivera has kids. Sigfredo and Katie have kids. All these kids are out there, have lost the adults. The adults acted like children, right? And now they're suffering. They have to suffer for the rest of their life. She mentioned Donna was the cause of the separation between Dan and Wendy. I could feel when she was saying that she knew a lot more, right? I know she gives a lot of detail in her book. Great book. Go get it. I have it on Audible because I can't read because of my neck. I have a neck problem and I start having pain if I read. So I have to do everything on Audible. But her book is amazing and heartfelt. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Lacey Peterson book written by her mom, Sharon Rocha. I mean, go get it if you haven't read it. Then she says, murder is not enough. This was powerful. The murder was not enough. Then you go and erase his name to try to erase him. Like, how cruel can you be? Makes me so mad. On top of that, then they are punished. Ruth and Phil Markel are punished and they don't ever get to see their kids. And if you remember correctly, the Markel Act was passed, okay, allowing grandparents to have rights. And Wendy left Florida because if I'm not mistaken, the Markel Act is only for the state of Florida. So, and then she leaves. Wendy's no longer in Florida anymore. I love when she said, Wendy, once again, gets a chance to relocate. How many times has she relocated now? Well, from what I'm hearing, it's her third. I'm not going to comment on where she is because I'm staying out of that box. Okay. They did not get to attend the boys' bar mitzvahs, any graduations. There's a lot of little things like, any moms on here, and dads too, but even in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, they have end of the year productions. They have an end of the year, you get together in the classroom and the room moms, they come to the table with juice boxes and cookies and they have an end of the year party. Grandparents come to those. They missed all of that. All of it. Anyway, so she requested maximum sentence, which I think she's going to get the maximum sentence. I think that there's, Judge Everett has had enough of Donna Adelson. All right. Phil Markel, you reflected on the damage and pain. He appeared to be a little more, I don't know, sympathetic? Not much, but he did say how heinous and callous her actions were with Danny. That Benjamin and Lincoln have to grow up without their father. that there's a Jewish custom where they wish everyone will live till the age of 120. Very powerful, because he says, I hope Donna lives to 120 years old alone in her jail cell. Well, she's going to have so much to think about. Anyway, the sentencing is going to be done at a later date. They did set a October 14th. I don't know if that's a hearing or the actual date of the sentencing. I couldn't catch that. 2:30 p.m. Let's see what's going on. Then I'm going to go into a couple of the things that I was going to talk to you guys about regarding Georgia Cappleman and also Wendi. So let's see what we got going on here with you guys. If you guys had asked me a question or anything, can you repost it so I don't have to scroll back up? I'm going to start from here. You know what? I think Donna is going to be on suicide watch. And I think that she is a risk for taking her life. Just based on the wiretap call when she was like, talking about her, her and Harvey already arranged for their burial plots. And how I lived a good life, right? Isn't that what I lived a good life. Basically it's over. It's over. I do think they're going to have to watch her closely. Maybe. I don't know. Somebody asked me a question before. I saw it and I wanted to answer it. Oh, Ruth Markel has sunglasses on because I heard from some really reliable, legitimate resources that she had missed a couple days of trial because she had a fall and she has a black eye. And that's why, which was heartbreaking. If that's true, that's heartbreaking. Yeah. So he has to give it to her. And he still wishes her to live to 120. Yeah, because you know what? There's nothing worse. I've changed my mind about the death penalty. I don't believe in the death penalty anymore because I just don't. And I think it's actually way more better punishment to be in jail and sit in a cell for the rest of your life and have to think about what you did. I mean, the death penalty is like a way out. You check out, you don't have to deal with the consequences anymore. So to me, it's a much better punishment than to just sit in jail and rot. Yeah, it was not on the table, but I was just mentioning it because some other people were bringing it up. Yeah, so we believe that she's involved, so therefore your statement is true. Whoops. Okay. Yeah, like huge congratulations to Georgia and Sarah Dugan. Both did an amazing job. I love Georgia. She's like, did you guys see my thumbnail before you clicked to get in here? They should have like something like the Grammys or the Emmys, but for the legal system, because she would win prosecutor of the year or closing argument of the year. And before this, I would say it was Juan Martinez, but honestly, Georgia Cappleman, at least for this year, has the best cross-examination of Bailey and closing argument that I've seen this year. Yep. Absolutely. Hey, Chip's dad. Welcome back. Yeah, I would, but that would be more for our pure enjoyment for Donna to testify, don't you think? I mean, she probably would have made it worse for herself, but now that we know she's guilty anyway, yeah, I wish we could go back in time and see if she could take a stab at it. What would she have done differently? Could it have, do you think if she had testified, that's a question for you all, are you right now? If Donna had testified, do you think there's a possibility this would be a different outcome? When she was at the podium, Georgia said something about her not wanting Ruth to trip over something and fall. Ruth said, I already did that. Oh, there you go. Okay, so the information I gave you looks to be factual. Hard to understand the lack of remorse at any level, except only that it got exposed. Yeah. And then to see her cry like that, I'm thinking to myself, you're doing that in front of Harvey. And if Harvey's innocent, which I don't think so, but if Harvey was innocent, that would be appropriate. But we all think Harvey's guilty, right? So her crying and making a big hoopla over because honestly, her reaction was very much like, what? Like, I didn't do this, that kind of a thing. Aren't you a little embarrassed? Because your husband's sitting right behind you, knows darn well what you did. Any criminal, you got to be concerned of. It's why she knew what they were doing, and they killed a good man for no reason except for selfishness. That's right. Yeah, Sharon Rocha's book is really good. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm a really honest person, so I'm not going to hold back for views. But since you mentioned Sharon Rocha, I will say this. I think Scott Peterson is guilty, but I also think that he didn't get a fair trial. I think that they should give him the fair trial, let him go through it, let them allow the things in that were supposed to be there, and then find him guilty and then put him away that way. But I think there's some unanswered questions there. I have no doubt of his guilt, but I don't think they were fair in the proceedings at all. Go back and look at the case. But yeah, there's another circumstantial case. All of it's circumstantial. There's no way in heck he didn't do it. The whole thing with Amber Fry, give me a break. But I don't think he had a fair trial. It wasn't done right. It's unreal Donna felt the world would find her not guilty. Yeah. I mean, this is the way the Adelsons think. In my opinion, I have to keep saying in my opinion. But I do think that that's the way they think, that they can do anything, right? It's just like in her emails. We have to win, Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. Well, guess what, Dan? You beat them today. You beat them today. And her whole thing on the balcony telling Junum Chinda, it's like Dan coming back from the grave. Well, he came back today. You know what? I see where you're going with that because I do think she's fake. But I think she was really crying, but she was crying because of herself. She was crying because she got caught. She's crying because she didn't beat the system. I think they were tears. I just think that they were for the fact that poor me, I'm gonna have to go to jail. What, me? I'm a little granny. I'm a granny who just wants to be with her sunshines. I didn't do nothing wrong. I can't believe I got caught. Oh gosh, girl, let me tell you. Right? Like, how great would it be if on Monday morning we find out there's an arrest been made? I'll be on here. You guys better join me. Yep. She has a sense of entitlement, and people have a sense of entitlement. If they don't find God, they're just going to keep being selfish and narcissistic and have that sense of entitlement. She's a broken person. What? Did she say that? Oh, wow. That's interesting. I don't know if I'll comment on that any further, but that is very interesting. They didn't put the camera on Harvey that much at all. That's pretty crazy. Did anybody watch a different broadcast and saw Harvey's face? I would have loved to see that. Maybe I'll look that up in a second, see if I can find him. Okay, he sat there expressionless. Yeah, because he knows. I think he knew. You know what? I think there's a small part of me that thinks he was like, go ahead, take her away. I don't want her anymore. And I've been saying from day one, he's going to take whatever money is left over, because what were they worth? Like $8 million. They were worth $8 million. How much you think they spent? Go ahead. Give me your number. Got to have at least $1 million left, right? Have $1 million left. take off, go lay on a beach somewhere. I don't know. They're watching her. That's what they've been saying all across different, reputable podcasts are saying. I'm talking about ones that are there at the courthouse. I did not go to the courthouse, and they're saying, that they're watching her nice and close. Crunchy Frog, hi. I recognize your name. Hey, did you guys like this video yet? If you haven't liked the video, and if you're on here and you have not subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe. $2.5 million is left, Elaine. Wait, that's pretty exact, Elaine. How do you know that? Are you friends with them or somebody that knows them? How do you know that, Elaine? Yeah, the joke's on us about Harvey. Yeah, I do think that Wendy has some smarts. She, up until now, people aren't giving her the credit for it, but she has followed her attorney's advice and not spoken to people. She has not spoken to her family. I gave her a really hard time about that because I personally believe that no matter what my attorney says to me, I can at least go visit my mother, the woman who gave birth to me, right? Even if she did it, I would at least want to go sit on the other side of the glass, pick up that phone and go, what were you thinking? Okay. And Jocelyn said to me, well, no, maybe she doesn't want to. Maybe, and I'm like, she's listening to her attorney. Maybe she feels that she would, doesn't want to risk anything. I said, well, you don't have to talk about the case to go find out from your mother why she did what she did, or at least find out her side of the story. And then if you don't like what she said, you're free to get up and hang the phone up and walk away. But at least go see your mother. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how that would work. I would say it would have to go to a blood relative, though, not a boyfriend, if you know what I mean. Can't go to the boyfriend. It was worth about 12% of their money to make Dan move. I don't think they'd give him the money, though. Oh, you think that if he had said yes, they wouldn't have ended up paying him? I don't know. I think she's shaking in her shoes right now. He's not with her. He hasn't been with her. She's been in jail. Yes, so happy. So happy. Thank you for joining us. Okay, yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people have a lot of questions for Georgia. And the biggest one is, when are you going to arrest her? As we already know from this trial, things have come out that we didn't know about, right? They're brand new to us. She's been holding those. I believe the question about how Katie found out that the job was done was not asked because it didn't really pertain to Donna. This is Donna's trial that we just went through, not Wendy's. So I believe, it is my opinion, I feel like I have to say that a lot just to double check that you guys all know it's my opinion, that she's saving that question for when Wendy, or if Wendy gets arrested. I'm scrolling on down here. Oh, I didn't know this. Was this right, Spencer B, was this right after the proceedings? When Georgia was asked about Wendy's pending arrest at her press conference today, she said, stay tuned. That is brand new to me. I think she's worried her parents will implicate her if she speaks to them and the feds will be listening. Right? Well, you could have just said, well, I'm not going to answer any questions about that, Mom, but what's going on? What happened here? What's your shot of the story? She could have done that. Yeah, I saw some tears, I thought. I really did. I think she was sad and crying because she got caught, not because she really genuinely feels bad for Dan or what happened. She's crying because boo-hoo, poor me, I got caught. Right? Sitting on a beach somewhere with a big old pineapple and an umbrella sticking out of the top with a straw. Joke's on us. Okay, I welcome all opinions. Wendy did nothing wrong. Her whole family was involved, but she was oblivious. Well, I don't know why you would say that. There's a million things that point otherwise. She'd have to have some pretty good explanations for those million things. Yes. Wendy's behavior speaks to consciousness of guilt. Oh, that would be amazing if the kids went to Rob and Haritha. That would be amazing. Yes, awesome. Thank you. And it's always easier with communities like this. Sending love to all from Chicagoland. Thank you, Miss Jessica, for your comment. Not sure if anyone has shared this theory, but I think that Charlie and Wendy were in don't tell Mom cahoots. And I think Charlie and Donna were in cahoots, don't tell Wendy, but perhaps Wendy. Maybe. One of the things that bothers me is that, the morning of this murder, they're on the phone. Charlie and Wendy are on the phone for 18 minutes. And then she sends over that text to him also saying, this is so sweet. So what were you talking about for 18 minutes? And how does it happen to be that there's all this planning going on, right? Charlie's on the phone with multiple people. He's on the phone with Donna. He's on the phone. This is all, Katie. He's, in the thick of it. A murder is about to happen. Charlie knows it. And then you get on the phone with Wendy for 18 minutes and you expect us to believe that there was no mention of anything regarding the murder? I don't think so. No way. That doesn't fly. That's an interesting point. I wouldn't put it past Wendy to marry the current boyfriend and have him adopted. Interesting. Could that happen? Yeah, I guess it could happen. That would be one scenario where maybe the kids could go to him. But if it's just a boyfriend, no. You guys are awesome. Keep the comments coming. Elaine says, listening to Wendy's ex, Jeff, talk about how emotionally and physically sick. I think Wendy knew. Wendy will stand trial. I feel it in my bones. Yep, I'm right there with you, sister. Yeah, like from the get-go, she has been, like a puppeteer. Yeah, I pray. And it's sad because they're so much older now, and how much longer are they gonna have to wait to at least just be with their grandchildren a couple times at least? Did you guys know that during the trial of Katie, the second trial, is it the second trial? Tara Kawas represented Katie in the trial. Okay. Well, up on the stand, she lied, Wendy, and said, well, I'm giving them visitation and about the bar mitzvah, that they're invited to the bar mitzvah and everything. Did you know there's an interview of Tara Kawas saying that as soon as the trial was over, she uninvited them. So she invited them to the bar mitzvah of the little one just so she could truthfully say that she invited them on the stand. And then Katie's attorney said that as soon as the trial was over, she uninvited them. Pretty cruel, huh? I actually put that interview in a video recently. It's in one of my videos. And don't forget to watch the Robert Adelson video. I made that recently and it's really, really good. I'm pretty proud of the video. I think you guys will like it. Check it out. And there's like a whole playlist now. They apparently, if you make a playlist now on YouTube, they're putting it up as a podcast now on Amazon. So I think it's on there. I was told that all my Markel videos are on there for listening purposes. So that's pretty cool. I love this. Dads are people too. I bet Wendy needs Pepto-Bismol tonight. Yay! Maybe she could send Jeff down to the store to go get it. Ha ha, right? Georgia's giving us little signals. She's speaking in code now. Oh, Tennessee life. I'm from Tennessee. I'm just, you didn't have a comment or a question, but I just wanted to share they're from Tennessee. Tennessee in the house. Oh, that's an understatement. She's been perjuring herself left and right, and I think they're going to point them all out. But I think under the derivative immunity, when they find something that's inconsistent or there's a lie, they've got to go to the court to get permission to use it. It's not as easy or as simple as everybody thinks. You can't just say, okay, now I can ask her about it at the next trial. No, you have to actually go through each item in front of a judge and get permission and prove that it's an inconsistent statement so that that derivative immunity gets thrown out for that item. Not for the whole testimony, but just for that one thing. She only said stay tuned when prompted by the questioner. She has to do whatever. Yeah. Well, Jack Campbell is the main guy, so don't get mad at Georgia for the lack of arrest of Wendy, because it's not Georgia's fault. Oh, okay. You were being sarcastic? Can you imagine? Aldo Rain, I hope Wendy gets arrested tomorrow. Can you imagine? Hi, Babs. That's my mom, everybody. Say hi to my mom. She wrote, think she was scared. Her life is over. Are you talking about Wendy, Mom? Mama Justice. She's on right now. Carmen, oh my God, if Wendy never met Dan, he would be alive. And the boys should go to Rob. Yeah, boys should go to Rob. Agree. And I'm sure he would love to take them. Do you know when Rob was testifying, he cared more about Danny Markel than anyone else in the Adelsons. And he was a distant brother-in-law that rarely saw him. And he cared so much more about him. Yeah, that's true. But you know what? They could share him. They could share custody of him. Those boys are going to be so confused when this is all over. Even if Wendy doesn't get arrested, I mean, Donna was their grandma. Donna raised them in a way. She was with them half the time, probably the majority of the time, for a good chunk of important years. She was taking them to, I guess they were doing piano lessons. She was dropping them off, picking them up from school. She was with them late in the evening, so Wendy could have meetings. So for that, there is some empathy, right? That these boys are going to be hurting about the idea of, or knowing that Grandma Donna is in jail for the rest of her life, because that's what it's going to be. Yeah, let me know, because I'll watch it too. Hey, I'll turn it on right now. I could look it up and see if there is one. I don't think so, though. Dan's parents would be the only blood family except Rob, and I know that Rob and the Markel family speak, so he would give them a contract. Dan's parents, except Rob. Yep. Wait, I think I went too fast. I'm skipping some of these and I don't mean to. I'm sorry, guys. Did you all say hi to my mom? Just call her Mama Justice. Yeah, well, maybe, Mom. Also, her grandkids won't want anything to do with her or Charlie. I don't know, because, they have these memories with her and they're still young. But I'm sure that their mother has, I don't know. Oh, guys, I want to tell you something. Okay? I want to tell you something that's really interesting that I thought about. Now, I thought I was the only one who thought this, but I'm not. So I'm going to give credit where it's due. I know mentor lawyers said this too, but I did think of this. Okay. So, I wrote it. I wanted to make sure I say it the right way here. Okay. So do you guys remember in Donna Adelson's trial just a couple days ago, Kristen Adamson is the attorney, the divorce attorney for Wendi. Okay. And she had hired her as a, with a retainer and everything to represent her against Dan. Well, that's privileged, information between the two of them. The fact that she testified in Donna Adelson's trial tells me that Wendi was helping Donna during this trial, because Wendi would have to waive her attorney-client privilege for Kristen Adams to testify. So what do you think of that one? What do you think of that? Oh, there's all the mama love. You know what it is? I'm so behind on the comments. I'm trying to read every single one of you, and I'm way behind. And my other mother's on here too, so you could say Mama Justice too. Hey, Mama, I am a mama of one. It's all you need is one, right? To be a mama. My heart breaks for the boys. Can you imagine your grandmother convicted of killing your father? I only pray they run to the Markels for love, healing, and family. Yeah, imagine your grandma being that evil. A grandma. Yeah. I'm very blessed to have the mothers I have, and I'm not just brown nosing because they're on here. It's really true. Like, I'm really lucky that I don't have some lunatic mother-in-law, because a lot of people have lunatic mother-in-laws. And like, I love my mother-in-law so much. Like, she comes and visits and I don't want her to leave. Like, most people are like, when are they leaving? I'm not like that. Like, I love when she's here. She's so helpful. And we have a relationship regardless of the fact that I'm married to her son, and that I bore her two grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of that, I would still have a relationship with her because I just love her as a person. And I wish that on everybody. And then, of course, I'm really close to my mother. My mother lives with me. So I'm like, I wish everybody would be like that, and Dan had to put up with this witch. Oh, I shared that one already. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. Oh, when she was talking about Charlie, like, Phil was saying, like, it's like a special kind of somebody for you to have your son commit murder because you want the murder to happen of your son. Your son-in-law. Okay. It's a special kind of person. All right. A really evil person to recruit your son to commit murder for you. Because I've always said, I don't think Charlie would have done this without Donna asking for it, because Charlie could care less. He could not care what Wendi was doing. He was like annoyed by his mother calling, "Oh, Wendi again? Now what do you need me to do for you?" Other than that, he was too busy driving his fast cars, making all the money he was busy working. He wasn't even thinking about this stuff. But when, Donna just kept calling, complaining. And Charlie would always do anything for his mother. So how sad for Charlie, right? First of all, I mean, a lot of people say, I do anything for my mother, right? Well, you don't commit murder for your mother, right? But he took it that far. But I don't think for a second that Charlie sat there and was like, I hate Danny Markel. I don't think he cared. I think anything bad he heard about Dan came from his mother calling and complaining about it. My own mother, who I'm on no contact with, is a narcissist. It's painful. And I'm happy for those who have an amazing relationship with their own mothers. I'm so, so sorry, Jessica. That's real. Like, I really mean that. It's really sad. But you know what? Sometimes your closest friends in this world are all you need, and they are family. You know what I'm saying? Because family, just because they're your blood, there's more to it than just the blood going through your veins. It's about respect and loving each other and being kind to each other. And that's what really matters. And parents don't own their kids. You know what I mean? There's people out there that are like, well, that's my son or that's my daughter. No, they're human beings and have to make their own choices. And you don't own them. They're their own people. They don't have to love you. They don't have to love you simply because you gave birth to them. There's a respect for the fact that somebody gave birth to you, but that doesn't mean you have to like them. My boy's father left, never wanted anything to do with them. I would have given anything for my boy's father to be like Dan Markel. I'm sorry. And I hope that maybe you were able to find love somewhere else and they have other men in their life that can be good father figures. All right, so guys, what do you think about Charlie flipping on Wendy? You think it's going to happen? The transport from South. Actually, I think the transport was from Miami to Tallahassee because he had to fly in. They flew him in from South Dakota, and then he took this long 7-hour drive to Tallahassee from Miami in the back of this truck, and they stopped and they got Wendy's. What are the chances of that? He literally was eating Wendy's. That's the only funny part about it. But he's sitting back there, Charlie. I really wanted to hear from him. I really did. I wanted to hear from him because he is entertaining to listen to. My wife falsely accused me of domestic violence. I had to give up my kid to get away from her. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I know you've mentioned that before. That's horrible. There are evil, diabolical women out there. $70 million Charlie will flip on Wendy now that his mom is locked up. I have to wait and see on that one, right? I don't know. He was on the phone with her for 18 minutes. Why? That to me is one of the biggest things. Like being on the phone with her for 18 minutes. While the TV repair guy is coming to your house and that's code and that's supposed to be your alibi. What are you talking about for 18 minutes? Meanwhile, he was just on the phone with Donna, just on the phone with Katie, talking about this murder. All right. Gosh, I never even talked about what I was going to talk about. You guys are keeping me so busy. Yeah, dads are people too. There's a lot of bad ones out there, but you know what? Nobody talks about the good ones either. Because Charlie can't shut up. No. Charlie is a blabbermouth. Yeah, well, I heard from Jeff that she's a drinker. Yeah, I heard that she had the fall, and then I didn't see her in the courtroom for a couple days, and I was like, I wonder what happened, and I had asked about it with some people that I talked to, And they said that she fell and had a black eye, and she came back with the sunglasses on. Poor woman. I think at this point, Georgia wants Wendi so bad that she would work a deal to lighten Katie's time to get her to tell the truth about Wendi. Is it too late for that? I don't know if it's too late for that. One thing I will say, though, Georgia said this. Here's a piece of information. In an interview, she was asked about deals. Georgia was asked about deals. And Georgia said, we don't make deals. Deals come to us. Like, we'll never like seek it out, go to the person and be like, hey, will you do this? We'll make a deal with you. She said, but we'll entertain it if somebody, if the lawyer calls us and say, so-and-so wants to talk to you. Hey, Charlie wants to talk to you. Katie wants to talk to you. They want to talk to you about this. And then they'll listen and then they'll decide. But they will never come to the table and offer a deal. That's what she said. I think Wendi will make a deal so the children don't end up without both parents. What do you think? I don't think Wendy's ever going to make a deal. I don't. If she gets arrested and she's sitting there after seeing everybody else get convicted, maybe she'd take a lesser because, I don't know. She might take a lesser deal just so she'd get lesser time. Charlie was right. You can get away with murder if no one talks. Unfortunately, everyone talks eventually. Yep. I don't know what she fell on. Not sure. You could fall into the corner of a door. You could, like a slip and then like go into something, into the corner or something. It could have been on the side, maybe. Hey, Italian Mama. How are you? I talked to you earlier today. Thanks for joining us. Good evening. So glad Donna's life is over. Wendi has no room to make a deal. Nope. But we were just talking about deals. Somebody said, would she make a deal for the sake of her boys, being, I think they said place somewhere. What'd you say? Hold on. For the sake of the boys. I think that if she got arrested, maybe she would take one, but it's kind of like, I don't think it's an Alford plea, but it's like an Alford plea where you get to maintain your innocence, but you also agree that the evidence against you would convict you, so you take a deal. That's called an Alford plea. She could do that and then get less time. But I don't think they would agree to that. I don't think would they even ask the Markels? I would think at this point they have a relationship with the Markels where they might turn around and go, can we do this? Now, they didn't do that with the Kohberger case. The Kohberger case, Brian Kohberger, he took a plea and nobody asked the parents, and they don't have to. You don't have to ask the victim's family for permission to give a deal or negotiate a deal. But in this case, I think Georgia, over her dead body, would she allow a deal to happen without checking with the Markels first? Do you guys agree? Yeah, I think they would prefer to deal with Charlie. And that's really our only hope, I think, at this point. I think the Wendi thing is a stretch about her making a deal. But I do think that Charlie is the best chance. The problem with this is that Charlie's in the middle of an appeal right now. He's trying to do an appeal. So if they sweeten the deal enough, but like I said, Georgia said she's not going to offer deals, he would have to come to her. So will he come to her and say, hey, what do you need me to do? Right. It's a mandatory life sentence. Hi, Sherry. How are you? Welcome aboard. Did you guys like the video yet? Hit the like button, the thumbs up button for me. And then make sure you're subscribing and you share our channel. We're like under a year and we're so close to 10,000 subscribers. And I was like, It happened so fast. Like literally, it went from like 1,000 4 months ago. 4 months ago, I was at 1,000 subscribers, and now all of a sudden, I'm getting close to 10. So I'm like, thank you so much. It's all because of you guys. And I just really, really appreciate it. And hope you like what I'm doing. And I try to be a little different. And I know I don't always say what everybody likes to hear, but you know, I'm trying. And you guys have also come around a little bit on my co-host, Jocelyn, who, as you all know, has been difficult about Wendy. Doesn't agree 100% with what I agree with, but that's okay. Got to have some debate, right? Got to have debate. Yeah, that's huge. Oh, by the way, I'm putting together merchandise for my merch store, and there's going to be something related to this case in there. So once I put it up the store, you guys going to have some some swag. It doesn't have to be Monster Justice swag. It can be Dan Markel trial, Dan Markel Adelson case merch. Let me hear this, Doris. I have a theory that they would have killed Dan later on in life, if not 11 years ago. Donna and Wendy were pissed that Dan was winning and moving on. That they would have just eventually, they just would have kept trying until they had done it, is what you're saying? Yeah, I mean, they couldn't get rid of him. But then think of this, guys. The main issue was her being able to, Donna being able to raise her grandchildren and have Wendy move down there. So if they just waited a few more years and the boys become of age and they're 18 years old, there'd be no reason to kill Dan. I mean, why couldn't you just wait? You know what I mean? I don't know. Thank you for the thumbs up, y'all. Ooh. All right. Question. If first-degree murder is an automatic sentence, why are they waiting until October 14th to sentence her? That is a good question. That is a good question. It could be for the 2 additional charges. Maybe not the first-degree charge, but the conspiracy charge, right? That could be different. So yeah, actually, that's my answer to that question. Yeah, we've got first-degree murder, solicitation, and conspiracy. So the conspiracy and solicitation could vary in their sentencing, but the first-degree murder would not. And of course, I'm not an attorney, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, what's this? The cost of a trial, $6 million already spent. Okay, so, and Elaine, are you still on here? Because, oh yeah, you are on here. Did you answer me about the money? About how much that they, can you explain further? Or was it just like a good educated guess on how much they spent? Hi, Julie. Thank you so much, Julie. You're so sweet. I so appreciate it. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, but the delay is for what? Right? Other than those 2 charges, I'm thinking. You know what I mean? She also has to have an opportunity to give a statement as well. I'm sure she's going to give a statement because the Adelsons won't shut up. But Charlie was short, right? But Charlie made sure he spoke. He was like, I am innocent of these charges. Oh boy, I know. She's only in Leon County jail, which is, by the way, is like a resort compared to where she's going to go. E150 gal. Hi, welcome aboard. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. Okay, Elaine says the $2.5 million that I threw out is what I think the Adelsons paid for Donna's defense. Right. So they're worth about $8 million. They probably gave some to kids. I think she arranged for money probably for Roman. She probably arranged them for Wendy's boys. You think she thought about Rob Adelson's kids? I wonder what she thinks about her grandchildren from Rob and Haritha. I mean, how cold can you be if you don't have a relationship with them, right? They're just two innocent kids. That's messed up. You know what? She could be anywhere. She could go to that one that's not far away from there. That what starts with a W. It's got a weird name. Forgot the name of it. She could go there. I don't think she's as a high risk as Charlie. Like Charlie has been moved around a lot because everybody wants to get Charlie. But Donna, you know, when you're old and you're in your 70s like that, nobody's going to pick on her. And she probably will be the sweet grandmotherly type to all the women that are in prison with her. I don't think they pick on older ladies like that. So I think she's pretty safe. And in terms of her safety and her well-being, I think she's going to be fine. She does nothing for Rob's kids. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. She's so evil. You know what? When you have kids or you have grandchildren and you have money, it's so evil to like put in your will for some and not the others, especially when they're little kids. So messed up. Not right. Yeah, she's going to be in the ultimate hell. So prison is way different. Like Leon County Jail, she gets calls, the commissary and all that. And that's not to say they don't have commissary at the prison, but these prisons, when you get there, it's like bigger. You're lost in the crowd. It's dirtier. There's a lot more fights. It smells like pee. I mean, have you guys seen in my last video, I put up, was it the one before last? The video before Robert Adelson's video, I put up a segment on the Leon County Jail, and it's like a resort, right? It's really nice. It's like a waiting area of like an ice skating rink or a gym. That's what it kind of what it gave me. Okay, yeah. Did you guys see my Amy video? My Amy Adler video? I did a concentrated video. So kind of what I've been kind of becoming known for is like, I do podcasts like everybody else, but my niche is kind of like diving into the things that nobody talks about, right? So I did a video on Amy Adler and Wendy Adelson and what I could find on it and my opinions about the relationship and about Dan and Amy and my opinion about how I think Wendy felt about Amy. So go watch that video. It's probably one of my most popular videos. It's got like 40,000 views on it, something like that. Go watch it. It's really good. It's worth it. Okay, so can we just quickly just say how like fire Georgia Kaplan is? Like she is like on fire, right? Best prosecutor. Like she's grown to be, she probably is my favorite female prosecutor now. Like amazing. She methodically went through everything with her closing, but like her cross-examination of that crazy attorney, Bailey, her last name is. By the way, she works in an office right next door to Mentor Lawyer. And I bet you her Google reviews are going to go, it's going to go down really fast. But you're not going to win any points with, it's Linda Bailey, right? Linda? I think it's Linda Bailey. Not going to win any points getting on the stand and ripping the victim apart. That's what she did. She was talking like terrible about him. And then assuming she knew how Wendy and Dan felt about their divorce and what they were going through based on previous divorces that she has done and thinking that some things are mundane, some things are moot points kind of a thing. And I'm paraphrasing here, but it's like, who are you to determine how Dan Markel felt? I mean, like we were just talking about in the chat here, there are some guys that have said that there are dads that are deadbeat and there are dads that really, really care about their kids, right? Well, Dan really cared about his kids, and what might not bother one father, all right, I'll visit them on the weekends. There's a lot of dads out there that are just fine getting a divorce and saying, I'll see you every weekend, or I'll see you every other weekend, or whatever. I'll get you in the summers. That's even worse, right? You don't see your kid all year and then you get him in the summer. So Dan Markel, even when Wendi had the kids, he wanted to find ways to still experience life with them. He wanted to actually get on a call with them at night and be able to wish them a good night, kiss them good night through a Skype call. Not a lot of dads do that. That's kind of really unique and different, right? Like, that is like, okay. And if that's what he needs, he has every right to feel that way. Those are his children. He is 50% just as important in their lives as Wendi is. So for her to determine what should be considered acrimonious or not is really like appalling and insulting. So I really was like wanted to scream through the screen. But you know what? Georgia Kappelman, she took care of all of that for us, right? All of us that were like livid and upset. I had never seen Georgia that heated. Like I was like, woo, girl, she had like smoke coming out of her ears. I was just really, really happy and proud of her that she just, let loose on her. She let the Kraken loose. Yes, dads are people too. Just as important. I'm not bashing women out there. Okay. But like, just because you gave birth to a baby doesn't mean you're more important than the father. Just doesn't. She also could have mentioned that if it was amicable, then why was Wendi telling everyone she knew how bad it was? Right. Yeah, because the story Wendi tells is totally different. All the way up. Even the people at FSU, the other fellow colleagues of hers were saying how much she was complaining. I mean, it was constant. And we all know from Jane McPherson, I didn't want you to marry him, she said. Did you guys catch that in her interview? Sorry. When Wendi was being interviewed, Jane McPherson was like, I didn't want you to marry him. Something like that. And then she leans in with a hug and goes, come here, honey. Like little cuddly bears. A man just died a couple hours ago. Really? Dan was a great father and a very competitive guy who had his beliefs, and he stood on those beliefs, and good for him. He was nothing what they tried to portray him to be. Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I wanted to punch her face. I don't know. No, and I'm not going to track her down or anything because I'm not like some YouTubers. I'm not going to go stalking her or anything. But I just know she left the state. I can tell you that much. But I don't know where she lives or anything. And for all we know, she's over there thinking, that she made a lot of mistakes and maybe she's innocent in this whole thing. And just made that whole interview makes her look real bad. And maybe she's not bad. I don't know. But it looks bad. That interview is not good. Okay, I've heard people say this. I've heard people say this. They certainly acted very inappropriate for the fact, after a couple hours of somebody being murdered, and then Wendy's sitting there with Jane, looking down at her phone and going, oh, you could see the car. Well, how did you even know he was shot in the head while he was sitting in his car? How did you know that? You couldn't have known that, Wendi. Nobody told you he was in the car and got shot point blank in the head while he was sitting in the driver's side of his car. Nobody told her that. So why are you focused on the car when you see it on your phone? Yes, they need a grand jury to arrest Wendi. Right. Unless she's fleeing, they can move faster. But here's the thing, guys. Last Friday, at the end of the day, it was very much talked about. that they requested the transcripts from the testimony Wendi gave for this trial, for Donna Adelson's trial. And one of the attorneys I was listening to said that usually is happening when they're getting ready to arrest somebody. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. They were so weird in that interview. Yeah, it was really, really, really strange behavior. The giggling and oh yeah. And just like an hour before Jane shows up, she's hyperventilating, you know, and I didn't see any tears on her. It was just, I'm not even going to imitate it because it's actually very inappropriate the way she was hyperventilating. Go watch my video on Jane. I have a video on Jane too. If you watch that video, I highlight that moment, and I was like, whoa. I felt like I was a bystander in a room when something very, very sexually inappropriate was going on. It was bad. I felt like TMI, right? It was TMI. She knew he got shot in the car from Sigfredo. So yeah, the belief is that she had found out, obviously, sometime around the time she goes down and the Trescott Drive to check and see if the murder was done. That's what we all believe, right? So, but then she could have confirmed it. Now, there's a second person who said that there's some sort of communication between Sigfredo and Wendi. Is there something I missed? Because I don't recall there being any proof or evidence of a connection between Sigfredo and Wendi. And if there is, I totally missed it. Please inform me on what I missed. Awesome, Elaine, girl. She goes, listen, I bat for that team and I know what lady lovers look like. Go, girl. That's funny. At the very least, it was more Jane. I'm thinking you're going to say that it was more Jane than it would be Wendi, right? That is giving you that vibe. I think if that's true, and if this theory is true, and it would be Jane in my eyes and Wendi knowing that and playing off it and using it to her advantage. Yeah, just touching her left and right. I wouldn't be surprised if Agent Sanford wasn't already en route to where Wendi lives to arrest her. I think it will be soon. Well, I think Sanford is the main person that is watching her right now. Yeah. Does she even have followers anymore too? I don't even know if she has that. I wish there was somebody that knew her that was on here right now. I would be very, very respectful. I would have legitimate questions and I would not attack that person. I just wish that I knew. I wish I had knowledge of some of the answers to some of these questions. Dan was getting the better of Wendi in the divorce, and I think that was what spurred on by Wendi's actions when she left, which I think was causing Wendi to seriously worry. Yeah, but plus her law license was being threatened, and so was Kristen's law license being threatened. So there was just really, Oh, nice. He was in the courtroom today. That's cool. Okay, I did hear somebody said something about Daniel Sack that, well, maybe I shouldn't say it. I heard some things about Daniel Sack. I don't know if it's true, but basically Wendi, really had a major crush on him is what it seemed like. It seemed to me she had a big crush on Daniel Sack. And Jeff made that apparent too, that Daniel Sack seemed to be her preference. So why didn't that work out? Well, that's probably because Daniel Sack did not like her for whatever reason in that way. But I don't know for sure. Cool. All right, so let's see. Any other questions? Give me 1 second, guys. I love this one. Wendy was furious that someone else could love what she threw away. So I'm assuming you're talking about Amy, right? Amy was a class act. Amy was, and I feel very, very bad for her. I think she's a forgotten victim. Imagine dating a guy for a very short time, okay? And, it's long distance at this point. He's traveling to New York a lot, and that's mainly where they would get together. She did go to Tallahassee once. He convinced her because she is terrified of flying, okay? Terrified of flying. And she goes and she actually meets Wendy on that visit because Wendy came to pick up the kids and Amy answered the door. And we all know that Wendy was Googling her and stalking her, right? Stalking her, looking up information on Amy's former husband, looking up Jonathan Adler, who is the brother of Amy Adler, famous, interior design guy, big deal, lots of money, the Hamptons. And she, in her own right, was, very accomplished and extremely smart and intelligent woman. And I could see why Dan would have been attracted to her because Dan was very intelligent too. And he was attracted to people that love to, academia, can you pass the Grey Poupon? That's the impression I got of that crowd. So anyway, that's all great, right? You seek out your own kind. So anyway, him and Amy are together and everything. And then it's a short time, and this is a blossoming relationship, right? She doesn't know much about what's going on. I mean, I don't think she's going to know much about Wendy anyway. I don't think Dan went real far in bad-mouthing Wendy. I think he probably said, look, I'm having some trouble with my former wife and, got this custody thing. And he probably, when he was annoyed, if he talked to her, and this is all speculative now, but when he talked to her, he probably, just maybe gave her small talk about what was going on. I don't think Dan, had any like dark secrets to give Amy about Wendy. I just don't. So she probably doesn't have much info. And then, okay, so this relationship, and I go on tangents, so I'm sorry. This relationship is going on, and then you're in whatever, your high-rise condo in New York City, and all of a sudden you hear that the guy that was supposed to fly out to see you, that you're dating, the very next day, he's supposed to fly out to go to you. You find out he's murdered. Murdered. Not just, whoops, had a fall and died or heart attack. I mean, murdered. That like ups the ante like 10 million times. It's a big deal. So she did not fly to Tallahassee. She didn't go to the funeral. She didn't do any of that because she was terrified. This girl was terrified because she didn't know why he was murdered. She was afraid to go there. I heard later on. It's speculative and rumor, but I heard she did not want to go to Tallahassee because she didn't know what she was dealing with. Like, am I going to get shot? Like what's going on? So, and frankly, I would run for the hills too. I'd run for the hills because I, would be afraid of that. And don't forget, she was a mother. She had a child herself, and she's probably like, oh, I don't want anything to do with this. It's scary. It's scary to hear something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure she's moved on with her life now, Amy. I don't think that it would go that far. I don't even know if she would be called, what relevance would her testimony be at this point? I mean, let me think about this. So I always get confused with that because Dan is no longer here. So is everything he told her hearsay? Again, I'm not a lawyer, but So this is where me being ignorant comes in. I don't know. I'm not sure. But can she testify to something Dan said? Now I'm trying to think back to the previous trials. Did anybody get up and said, Dan said this? No. So you know what? I don't think she could testify. Just my common sense is telling me that they wouldn't allow that in. Because she could make up anything and say Dan said it, right? I love this. Back to this comment again. Pepto-Bismol. She's going to need a lot of that. I'm sure she's really scared. Thank you, Sherry. You're so sweet. Yes, we're so close. I'm so excited. Like, I was like, gosh, I started the channel. I was like, I'll have a few people on. It'll be fun. Never in a zillion years did I think it would go this far. So I just really, I'm very humbled by it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I love you guys. What time is it now? 9, a little bit after 9 o'clock. Give some of the other channels a chance. You guys could poke around and see what some of the others are saying. Here are my picks. Carl Steinbeck, Mentor Lawyer, which is Deep Dive True Crime. I think Jackie St. Germain is funny. Who else do I like? I don't want to leave anybody out. Oh, AA Legal Focus is great. She's super cute. Judy, the YouTube lawyer. And Loophole Lawyer is very funny. I'll give him that. If I have to be in a mood for Loophole Lawyer, but he's hilarious. So, okay, I'm waiting. He's like, wait. I'm here. What's up? You guys are cute. Oh gosh, Jeff Lacasse. I love Jeff Lacasse. Everybody knows I love him. I think he's just so sweet. And he deserves a happy life. He deserves to find somebody better than Wendy. Somebody's not going to set him up for murder, right? Someone who can be trusted. Someone who's not going to string him along and take him to hot yoga and then treat him like crap, right? What else did she do? What else did she do to him so much? Like, totally play with his brain. Go down to the coffee shop. Was it All Saints Coffee Shop? Sits in the All Saints Coffee Shop in Tallahassee with another guy. And he walks by. I think that was planned. I'm sorry. She wanted him to get jealous. Definitely. All right. I love you guys. I'm going to get going. And I will be on very, very soon again. I've got a Wendy video coming out for you soon. And some other stuff. And I'll be on my podcast. Just so you guys know, I will be covering Courtney Clenny pretty soon. I'll be working on that case. Also, did you guys hear about the Kentucky girl? The girl out of Kentucky? She's in college and she had a baby and put it in her closet. And they're trying to figure out if the baby was killed or not, or if the baby was stillborn. So I'm interested in that. And then the Austin Drummond case out of Tennessee, the guy who killed like a whole family. That's a crazy one. But yeah, I'll be following Courtney Clenny. Her trial will be coming up soon. She is the OnlyFans model who murdered her boyfriend. The question is, I haven't decided yet if she is officially guilty or not. I'm going to work through that by investigating, doing my little investigation. So I'll be covering that case as well. Let me know any other cases you want me to cover. And that is it. And let me see. Don't forget to hold on. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I'll be on next week with Jocelyn in the evenings, and then I put out my videos during the day. So All right. Love you guys. Thank you. Yay. Victory. Justice for Dan Markel. Bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.